So let's finally take a look here after reviewing single leg standing and the required center of mass change and influence there, and reviewing valgus and Q angle and their relationship. I would like for you to take a look at what happens when we do a single leg squat. And this is not a good versus bad. This is not a get mad because this hurts your feelings or your team's feelings, or it doesn't go along with your sound bites. But listen for this biomechanical truth, please, okay? Here's the deal. You're now single leg standing position. So you're at center here with this. I'm choosing this right leg. And it's always got to be under your center of mass here. Now realize the things we've already created. Foot at center. A reality. Have to have it in order to stay standing. Hip, obviously several inches. The hip joint several inches from center. So this is at center. This can never be at center during your single leg squat, right? So with this offset here, you've already got, in essence, a foot that's center and a hip that's not. Hip's out there. Got it? Now here's what happens as you start to squat. See this foot right here? You've got a foot with an arch in it, some degree of arch, maybe a little, maybe a lot. But as you start to tilt your tibia forward, in other words, you eccentrically dorsiflex via your plantar flexors controlling you, the forces across this talus and subtalar joint change. Your foot and its arch begin to collapse appropriately. Oh no, you're going into pronation. Pronation's bad. Guys, supination, pronation, normal changes in the foot, okay? As the pronation incurs, in other words, the arch goes away, the talus, the bone that the tibia is sitting on, angles. Can you see that? As this falls down, this angle has changed. This almost wrench-like joint seated on top of here securely with congruency requires the tibia to change its angle in space also. So as it goes forward into plantar flexion, it will be required to angle inward in response to its foundation angling inward. Got it? Now realize what that's done. You have a foot that's required to be in the center. You have a knee that as you bend more and more must go medially or inward from the foot based upon the talus that this is sitting on. All the while, your hip has to be out here. Your hip has to be off center, way over here. No way around that. If it moves towards center, you fall. Well, you know what that means as you go lower and lower and lower? Valgus is required. To some degree, the lower you go, excessive valgus is required. Now don't get me wrong, guys. You can have somebody stand on one leg and go, can you stand on one leg? Oh, good job. And by the way, if their foot is adjusting, that's not instability, that's normal adjustment. That's what keeps us upright. Those normal little adjustments. Okay? So I'm standing here and you're checking that out. You're going, oh, no, good job, Mrs. Jones. That's nice. Assuming that you also checked her hip requirements, because there's no reason to check what her foot can do in balance or her balance itself unless you check the hip requirements that must hold up her whole body. So there was a prerequisite before the test, right? And then what foot muscles, better check the quality and the ability and the properties of those guys. Can they even elicit a contraction? Important things. But this assessment is very advanced. It's super advanced. And if you're telling people, well, your knee dove in because you got weak something here and weak something here, you're living in a fantasy world. Someone told you to say that and they didn't understand what was going on either. Okay? So come on, guys. If we learn the biomechanical truth here, that yes, there are probably varying degrees that change with the individual, but without a doubt, really short squats don't require much change and are probably the most viable way to do a single leg squat. But if you're to balance over your foot and go lower and lower and lower, then this valgus thing is demanded from your knee. It's demanded. And over time, and definitely dependent upon the individual, can take a toll. So you can go, oh, I've done it forever and I've never had any trouble. Yeah, I know. You can do a lot of stupid things for a long time and get away with it. But that didn't make you smart in the long run. It doesn't. Look, you get somebody, you can do it. You're all proud of yourself. You can show off. If somebody walks in and this lateral side of the trochlea in them is really poorly formed, which is a common structural variance, they're really likely to start working on a patellar dislocation here with this thing. Because again, patellofemoral forces are huge with this deal. So again, I'm sorry that's fast and it's a lot in a short period of time. But the gist of it is there are some force-based biomechanical realities. And an awful lot of the things we've made up for exercise assessment and functional movement screens and things we're asking everybody to do are not available for everybody, not good for everybody. We don't even understand the parts and how they're supposed to work together.